He's black. He's brutal. He's boss.
What up, people? It's your boy C4 coming back at you with another video. So I just dropped my Microsoft's E3 conference impressions video, and this is my Sony conference impressions video. Yeah, so let's get into this. This is going to be an interesting video, very interesting video, because I'm going to go in on this video, but I'm not going to waste no time. I'm gonna go down the list like I did with the Microsoft conference, because I write everything down. So they started off with a Destiny trailer. Okay, I've never really been a Halo fan, so Destiny is kind of like, nah, to me. But maybe it was just me, and y'all can tell me down in the comment section. But did this Destiny trailer they showed, did the game look downgraded to anybody else? Because that game looked really unappealing in that trailer. It really didn't do anything for me when it came to that game. The stuff I saw last year looked pretty decent. Like I said, it looked a lot like Halo, but this trailer just, I don't know, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth for the game. But that's how they started out the show. And then they went into the unveiling, I guess you would say, of a white PlayStation 4 Destiny bundle. The white PlayStation 4 looked pretty cool. I never really been a fan of when companies come out with a different color of a console later on down the road. That always kind of pissed me off because I love options, and I wish they would just come out with white, black, blue, red, you know, yellow, maybe an orange or a pink for girls and stuff like that from the beginning and leave it at that. I hate when they come out with a color you might want later on down the road, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to spend another $400 for a console that I, already own. There's only going to be a cosmetic difference. I really wish they would do stuff like that in the beginning. But anyway, next they went into the Order 1886 gameplay. The game looked good. I cannot lie. The game looked good. It looked very good. But they were not lying when they said it was heavy on the cinematics. I mean, it was pretty much an interactive movie. And I know a lot of people gonna say, well, that's what all games are, but I mean, like, this was a little bit heavier on the cinematics than Heavy Rain, which was heavy, cinematic heavy. And this was like, okay, yeah, just press triangle right here, because that's all you got to do. Okay, it's like the only part where you actually take control of the game is when you're shooting. Everything else is like a quick time event. Not really a fan of that. I'm really not a fan of that. But if the story is decent, I might give it a go later on down the road. But the Order 1886 looked good, but I don't know. It was a little too heavy on the cinematics for me. Then they went into a game called Intertwined, something like that. It was an indie game with like 2 different birds. I'm not even gonna get into that. Infamous Second Son DLC looked okay. Little Big Planet 3. Where do I go with that? Little Big Planet 3. If you're into that type of game, it's cool. Little Big Planet 3 for me is a game. I don't hate the game, but it's not really that miraculous. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen some people do some cool things with Little Big Planet and creating other games and stuff. So that aspect of it is cool. They introduced some new characters for it and everything. And it was the biggest pop I saw all night almost for the conference. But I really wasn't feeling it too much, but it was cool. Bloodborne. The trailer left a lot of questions in my mind. I really wasn't sure what the game was about or what was going on, but it was interesting. It was gruesome as hell, and I'm guessing it had something to do with zombies. But that was an interesting trailer. They went into Far Cry 4. Looked good. I have Far Cry 3, and just like Tomb Raider, like I said in my last video, I haven't gotten into it yet. I need to get back on my gaming tip because I haven't played it yet. But Far Cry 4 looked pretty good, and I need to get into 3. So when Far Cry 4 comes out, I can get ready for it. Then they showed a Dead Island 2 trailer, which was interesting to say the least. It was very interesting. But we all know how Dead Island is when it comes to their trailers. They can show you some pretty good trailers and the game be nothing like it. So it was a trailer, so it was okay. Battlefield Hardline, we saw that at the E3, at the EA conference, and Sony decided to show it at their conference. I love Hardline, and I can't wait for Hardline, so that was cool. Then they went into the whole, the whole indie scene as usual. Everybody knew they were going to go into indies, but nobody wanted to believe that was all they were going to really show. And that was, for the longest part, after they did all the talking, all the shows. We got Magica 2, we got Disney Infinity, Grim Fandango. Disney isn't an indie game. I won't say it's an indie game, but it's a game that I really didn't care about. Let It Die was a live action trailer. They did an indie showcase, and then after they did an indie showcase, they showed an indie game called Abzu, which was by the creators of Journey, which is an indie game. And I'm not saying indie games are bad, but like I said, I'm not going to pay $400 to play a bunch of $5 PopCap games or free-to-play games from the PC. Which leads me to what they went to. They did a whole segment on free-to-play games, which most of which were on the PC for over a year now. And the others were a bunch of indie PopCap games. I wasn't impressed with that. Then they announced No Man's Sky, which a lot of people seem to say won E3. Don't know where they got that from, but it looked like an okay game, but it was pretty mad at me. I'm not gonna lie. They announced YouTube, Twitch, and Ustream for the PlayStation 4, which I thought nobody wanted to see, but somehow, from judging by people's reactions on Facebook and stuff, that wins you conferences now. When Microsoft did it, it didn't win you conferences, but now it does. They went into PlayStation TV, which is a cool concept. I like the concept of being able to play your PlayStation in another room, on that. But I have to see a little bit more from that in order to give a full-blown opinion on it. This was the highest point in my opinion. This was the highest point because nothing up until this point was worth a shit. I hate to say that, but nothing up until this point was worth a damn, to be honest with you. Mortal Kombat X, we saw some gameplay for it, and it looked beastly. Can't wait to get my hands on that because I haven't really been hyped for a fighting game in a long time. And I know people saying, what? There's a lot of fighting games that have been coming out, Killer Instinct and all of that stuff. Nothing really got me hyped. But this Mortal Kombat, the trailer got me hyped, and this gameplay got me super hyped. But then they killed that moment with a guy coming out there talking about a show called Powers. He talked for like 10-15 minutes, which was another snore fest. Then they showed The Last of Us Remastered. Don't really care because that game came out last year, and it's pretty much just what they call nowadays the complete version. And it's in 1080p. Don't really care. They announced the Ratchet & Clank movie. Don't really care. They showed a trailer for Metal Gear Solid 5. Man. This was kind of a high point, even though I hate this game with a passion because Rockstar fucked over everybody with it. The Grand Theft Auto 5. They showed Grand Theft Auto 5, which we all knew was coming to next generation. My biggest problem with Grand Theft Auto 5 is Rockstar released this game September of last year. That's 9 months ago today. Okay? 9 months ago, and we have yet to receive the game that they promised us a year ago. Over a year ago. And I think that is ridiculous that at this point, we still haven't received the full game. But yet they're going to probably come out this fall with this one, and it's going to be complete. So everybody who went out there and spent $60 on Grand Theft Auto 5, you essentially was a beta tester, and they made billions of dollars off of this game, and I dislike them for that. That really pisses me off. We still haven't got the heist yet. 9 months later, we still haven't got those. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5 was announced. Like I said, but we already knew that was coming. Batman, the new Batman game looks great. It looks phenomenal. But that got pushed back. That we got news of that being pushed back right before E3. So it looked great though. I'm looking forward to that. And they ended the show, which I didn't really get a chance to see at the beginning because Twitch, the live stream of Twitch, I guess they figured the conference was over and they cut off. So I had to run over to GameSpot and I caught Uncharted. They showed a trailer for that, which I'm not gonna lie to you, Uncharted 1 and 2 was okay to me, 3 was meh. So this one, my hopes really aren't that high for it, but I mean, I guess that's what a lot of PlayStation guys was looking forward to. So they show Uncharted. Now it's time for me to give my opinions on the conference as a whole. I'm going to be a little more PC, a little more nice on this video than I was when I did my podcast with my crew, John Doe. I'm going to leave a link to the description in the description so you can check out our podcast. We reviewed Sony and Microsoft's E3 together yesterday. I'm gonna be a little more polite in this one. I'm gonna try not to do as much cussing, but this was possibly the worst E3 conference I have seen. And I'm gonna say from Sony that I have seen in a long time. It was a complete and utter snooze fest. Aside from Mortal Kombat and Batman, nothing on this list did anything for me. Absolutely nothing. What we did see were CGI trailers for games like Dead Island 2, but I wasn't really a fan of Dead Island 1, so I can't really speak on that. Like I said, the order seemed very heavy on the cinematics and light on gameplay, and that really turned me off. Disney Infinity, Grim Fandango, and the plethora of indies they showed, it was bad. It was really bad to me. And I was on Facebook and reading this, reading what people had to say, even IGN, and I could not believe that people were actually saying Sony won E3 from this conference, because this was possibly the worst conference ever. And a lot of people keep on saying that Microsoft focused on apps and entertainment last year, but last year Microsoft did exactly what they did this year. They came on stage and they showed 90 minutes of games. Okay, and they did that this year. But somehow last year Sony won, and this year Sony won. And I don't know how. Because when Microsoft comes out there and they talked about apps and they talked about the dashboard updates and how they was going to integrate ESPN and all of this stuff, you guys said you didn't want to hear it. You guys said that it was all about the games. And that's what Sony did last year. They came out there and they talked about Sony Music, and they came out there and talked about Redbox and Netflix. And you all ate that shit up, and you all seem to be doing the same thing this year. I'm not saying everybody. I'm talking about the opinions that I've seen from some of these people who call themselves gaming journalists. And it's crazy because this conference was horrible. It was bad. This conference actually had me and the rest of the crew that I was watching it with looking forward to Nintendo's E3, which I'm going to get into in the next video. But this was abysmal. This conference was bad. If I had to give it a rating, I would give it I give it a D-, borderline F. Very borderline F, because they showed nothing but PopCap games, and the little exclusives they did show were all indies. They were all games that are not worth full retail price. Like I said, the order was the only one. I'm looking at my list right now of games that they showed that are worth a damn, and The rest of them I can get on the Xbox One. I hate to say that, but that's where all my friends are. So if it was for me to get a PlayStation 4, it would be solely on Sony showing me games that I could get nowhere else. And they did not do that at all. The Last of Us I can get on my PlayStation 3. I didn't want it then. I don't care for it now. And nothing else was worth a damn. Like I said, they keep on toting Destiny like it's an exclusive, but that's going to be on the Xbox One as well. And Little Big Planet 3, not really a console seller for me. So I'm sitting here like nothing at this conference was worth a damn. Like I said, they talked a whole lot and they showed a lot, but it was nothing worth a damn or nothing interesting. It really was nothing interesting but a bunch of indie games. And that pretty much wraps up my video. I know a lot of people not gonna like what I said. I know a lot of people, gonna call me a fanboy. They're gonna call me an X-bot or whatever. But I just gotta be honest. You know what I'm saying? Nothing there really sparked my interest. No Man's Sky is not an exclusive. That's going to be on the Xbox One as well. And that's what a lot of people kept on saying. One E3 for Sony, but in my opinion, that game was just meh. That game was nothing spectacular. I mean, it really wasn't. But you already know what to do. Comment below, video response, whatever you do, it's up to you. Stay tuned for my next video, which will be Nintendo's E3 presentation review. And it's your boy C4. Chat with me, and I'm out.